What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Purple and Gold podcast. And today we are coming back with another team mock draft. So, without further ado, let's spin this wheel. And if you guys like this series, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave your comments on who you want me to do next because right now I am doing it completely at random. So, today we are going to be doing the Los Angeles Chargers, and we're going to take a look at their depth chart before we do anything else so we know what exactly it is that we need to focus on in this draft. So, first off, Justin Herbert, phenomenal season for the Chargers. Um, I think he was one of the guys in the Pro Bowl that actually was deserving of the position. Austin Eckler's been really good. Allen, Williams, Guyton, they've all have had a great season this year, thanks to Justin Herbert, partially. Jared Cook also is still pretty good. And then you take a look at the offensive line. Now, the right side, I think, needs a little bit of help. I don't think Ode Obushi is definitely the solution for that team. And then Brian Balaga, so these two guys are on IR. Could potentially look at a different right tackle just because Balaga wasn't there for a portion of the season, and that kind of costed them because Storm Norton was struggling. I mean, we saw that in the game against the Vegas Raiders. He could not handle Max Crosby, one of the best edge rushers in the league, not creating pressure. Tillery, former first round pick, Joseph, Jones. I mean, these guys are a big reason why they couldn't stop the run this year, unfortunately. I'm a big Linval Joseph fan, former Minnesota Viking, but yeah, these guys are just not cutting it. So we're definitely gonna have to look to work with the inside of the defensive line. So that's definitely a spot where we can look to improve. The two outside linebacker spots with Bosa and Nwosu, those are completely fine. Murray and White are a good combo in the middle. I know Kenneth Murray had his struggles this season, but considering that he was a first round pick just 2 seasons ago, it's possible that he just had a sophomore slump. So we're gonna have to stick with him and bank on his potential. Excuse me. And then we have the cornerback. So this is definitely a position that needs more depth. I mean, Tavon Campbell was out there way more than he should have been. Chris Harris Jr. is still a solid option. Michael Davis and Asante Samuel Jr. So you definitely have guys that you can work with, but I think there's certainly room for improvement, as I just said. And then the safeties with James and Adderley, I think you're completely fine there. So let's head right here into the draft network. If this thing is willing to load, which it doesn't look like it wants to. Let's just completely reload this tab. All right, here we go. So we're gonna head into the draft network. There we go. Oh my goodness, guys, the site almost sold me out. We were about to move to a different one, bro. All right, here we go. So we're gonna start off here. Let's take a look at the picks that go before us. We pick here at 17, so almost smack dab in the middle here in the first round. Jordan Davis is definitely a guy that we would have liked to pick, but not a chance that he falls to 17. All right, let's see what went on over here. Everything so far looks pretty reasonable. Derek Stingley's an interesting one. He's a guy who can go in the top 10, but if he falls out, uh, no one's going to be surprised. Okay, wow. So we definitely have some options here. And I know that the draft network isn't particularly too high on these quarterbacks, so that's also interesting to me. I know some people do not believe that there is a franchise quarterback in this draft. Um, I think there are. I don't think we can rule any of these guys out yet. A lot of them just have, a lot of talent, and with proper coaching, I think these guys can work their way up and have a little bit more believers in their corner. But okay, right here, this is going to be a no-brainer pick for me. We're going to go with Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. He's rated as my number 2 offensive tackle in this year's draft, and he does play left tackle for Mississippi State. This guy just has, a solid build right there at 305 pounds, at 6 feet 5. So, this guy, he is definitely a pillar to work with. Now, I know I talked about how it's going to be difficult for some of these guys to make a transition from the left side of the line to the right side of the line. But I feel like at this point, right, and we're sitting here at 17, I feel like Charles Cross is just too much value for us to pass up on him. And I'm going to take a chance if I'm the Chargers at sliding him over to the right side to play tackle. If you can have Charles Cross at right tackle and Rashawn Slater at left tackle, your offensive line problems, at least on the outside, are going to be solved for the next 10 years. So Charles Cross, I think right here, is a phenomenal pick in terms of value and filling a need. here at pick 17. I don't know how you guys feel. I just, whether you draft for need or you draft for best player available, but I think that is a circumstance right there where you can kill two birds with one stone. So I'm loving the pick right there with Charles Cross. Um, I think the only tackle better than him is Ikem Ekwonu, but that's going to be a tough guy to, outmatch when you're comparing the two. Okay, right here. So we could possibly go Logan Hall here just because we don't know if Uchenna Nwosu is going to come back yet. He still hasn't gotten an extension. But right here, I mean, oh man, see, there's still good interior offensive linemen, and I don't think we want to stick with Ode Abushi either as well. If we can take another offensive lineman and this guy being an interior one, um, wow. I mean, the offensive line problems might be solved within the first two rounds of the draft. Now, I know it was crucial for us to try and look for an interior defensive lineman to possibly go after, just because of how much struggles that the run has had lately. But there's no one that I would feel comfortable picking without feeling like I reached. And I just feel like if we can, still take out a few more needs that we still have on this roster, why not? So we're gonna go with Jamari Salyer out of Georgia right here, another offensive lineman. So right here we are building the line. We're gonna protect Justin Herbert. And from left to right, you're gonna have Slater. You're gonna have Matt Filer. You're gonna have Corey Linsley, the big free agent center that they picked up last offseason. And then we have Jamari Salyer on the inside, and then Charles Cross. Wow, that is an offensive line that is young and has tons of potential to grow with Justin Herbert. And I feel like if you can build, besides the quarterback, if you build through the trenches, the offensive line and the defensive lines, that's how you win games right there. And this is going to be another interesting position that we're going to be in here. So George Pickens is still there. He's a pretty solid wide receiver that we're going to see taken in the middle rounds. I mean, gosh, this Georgia team this year that won the national championship was just insane, and they're going to have a lot of guys selected in this year's draft for sure. Interesting. I mean, I feel like this is a great pick right here if we take Jalen Wydermyer. Just a very versatile tight end. He can definitely move. I mean, he's fast for the position, and he was one of the best targets that Texas A&M had this season. Wan'Dale Robinson is also another good wide receiver. I just don't feel like that's much of a need. This team is going to be an interesting team to do a mock draft on after the entire free agency period is done because even guys like Mike Williams are not under contract yet. So there are some pretty big names for the Chargers that need to get extended. So we could definitely see them take a wide receiver if Mike Williams decides not to come back. I feel like Jalen Wydermyer would be a good pick just because Jared Cook also is going to be a free agent, and he's definitely, in the older age in terms of a football player. I believe he's already over 35 years old, and you don't really have a guy behind him that's going to take his place. So I feel like Jalen Wydermyer would be a good, young weapon for Justin Herbert to work with in the future too. I mean, this team is relatively young, and wow, do we just go all offense here? I think so. I'm gonna go Weidemeyer here. I just feel like it makes a ton of sense right here. And I think this is gonna be the end of our draft, but I'm very satisfied with the way that this thing turned out. I mean, Charles Cross, like I said, is a phenomenal tackle. And to get my number two tackle at pick 17, I just feel like it's just tremendous value. And I don't know how you guys feel about Charles Cross, but if you haven't watched any of his stuff yet, you gotta watch it. I mean, the guy's not getting beat very often off the line of scrimmage. And then Jamari Salyer also takes care of any offensive line problems that we had on the inside. We already went over from left to right. I mean, things look pretty solid if you just plug in these guys and play them immediately. And then Jalen Wydermyer, the tight end out of Texas A&M, like I said, is a piece for the future and one that can probably instantly replace Jared Cook. I mean, this guy he looks like a wide receiver, but he is a tight end, so that is definitely a weapon that you would want to have on your team. And I think if you talk to anyone on the Texas A&M team, especially the quarterbacks, I think they're going to tell you how much they like Jalen Wydermyer because he got a ton of targets considering that he's a tight end. So, yeah, I mean, that's a position that usually goes forgotten on some teams. Some teams utilize it more than others. I know the Chargers like to use their tight ends. We see Jared Cook and Donald Parham get quite a bit of targets. So interesting to see what they would do if Weidemeyer was on their team. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this mock draft turned out for the Chargers. But yeah, it's been the Purple and Gold podcast, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.